So I finally got to work on the YZ. Well, no, I already done work. So let me explain what's all been done to this bike so far. Also known as head gasket or jug gasket is what apparently is what the bike needed. So far, new cases are in. Here's the old one with the holes in. So that sucked quite enough for me. And then I've seen the top end and stuff. Of course, you have to disassemble the top end to get to the bottom end and pull the motor and stuff. Oh, excuse me. But anyways, let me show you why it won't start. So I'm just gonna lower the cylinder down. If you actually look at the top end, it's in very nice shape. Didn't hone it, but looks like it's scored. It's not. Those scratches, you can't even feel them. So that's good. So let me show you where the problem is. So piston's all the way down, but look at this. See right here? See how much gaps in between that? Air was leaking right out. And then it comes up to the top here, and it's all tight. So, I think this cylinder's fucked up. It could have overheated at one point, causing that. Causing it to warp up the cylinder. Meaning I could need a new cylinder, or I might just need to get it bored over again, which it was previously bored 20 over, and I might need to bore it 40 over. But if it is in a case where the engine overheated or something, which I don't think it was, but if it was for some reason because of that, I might not be able to get it bored. But I don't know, so don't know why it's like that. It is very weird. And then, like I said, the top end looked fine and stuff till I put it back together, and I'm a little bit low compression. I'm like, what the hell? So if it is that case, then I have to get a new cylinder, which I don't know. We'll be going back to standard bore again, probably. But you know, I can probably get a new cylinder kit then at the same price as boring at 40 over. But like, if you actually listen, it doesn't even sound right. Oh, and I put new rings in here. Let me show you another thing. I would have had to replace this piston anyways, because I put new rings in here. And you know how you have to line, on two-strokes, you have to line up the rings with a special, with like a, there's like a center point there that keep the rings from moving, so that way they don't catch onto the ports. Well, look at this. Let me crank the engine up just a little more. Of course, you look right up there in the corner, on this side here, on this side, if you look all the way up there, you can see the part where the ring connects. You see that gap there, so that, and that ring actually connects all the way here. So I didn't even have this thing running. Just from kicking it, over the course of kicking it, the ring made a full revolution around. And I think the reason why I did that is because of that gap that's down in between that cylinder there, and the reason why it's like that and stuff, and could be the reason why it did that. So a warped cylinder is probably what we have here, and I'll have to take a look. I don't know if you can bore them again or not, but I'll have to take a look. If not, I think getting a used cylinder for this bike is probably going to be around the same price as getting everything bored over and getting a new kit in it. You know, but then again, I'll probably have to buy a new. This isn't going to be fun, but hey, you know, already spent $94 on the bottom end. And the reason why my flywheel looks like that is I had to actually weld on nuts in here. It was that stuck that it kept, we actually got one of the flywheel pullers to go in here, and it just kept ripping it right back out, kept popping it back out because the threads are all rusted and they're all stripped and stuff, and so we had to do that and just put a regular puller on it and get it off. So that was nasty enough. It does have spark and everything, but that's the reason why it has a healthy looking cylinder and very low compression, and it's got brand new rings in it and stuff. But yeah, well, spent 30 bucks on the rings. Spent so much on this bike so far, and all I thought I need was a head gasket. Well, we'll all eventually, one time or another in our life, get fucked over. That's another thing. I have to get one off. These are actually 83 cases. They're slightly different, although they said that they were the same online. If you take a look, that clutch thing doesn't go down in all the way. So I can actually probably pull that out, but I'm not gonna. But you know, what are you gonna do about that? I could probably just get one off an 83 and it'll fit that inside this case fine. Everything else was the same except for also the water pump, but I just drilled a hole for the guide of the water pump shaft, the other opposite side of the water pump shaft where it goes down, and those were different. So I just drilled a hole and it was all aluminum with the same size drill bit, and that worked fine. I mean, it's sitting in there, it's cradling fine, and water pump's turning over smoothly, and as you can see, it's pumping water too. If I turn that over real fast, you can see the water start to push out of the top hose there because I didn't drain it. See the fluid coming out. That's good. That's a good sign. So that means the water pump's working well. So yeah, need a new top end. And any of you guys ever seen anything like that with the cylinder? Let me know. This is honestly the craziest thing I've ever seen. Ooh, it's smoky in here. Ever since I had to fix the flue on my chimney and stuff because it was leaking smoke, and ever since then I've been opening up the door and I've been getting nothing but smoke coming out. Look at that. I just opened up a little draft on the fire and look at that thing. Watch. Holy shit. And yet it was working so well for a while. I guess it's because of those elbows there. Sometimes that has, but that shouldn't really make all that much of a difference. Look at that, it's even leaking out of there right now. Yeah, I don't know why I have to take a look at this again. I guess it could also be because it's actually not that cold out. I noticed on days that it's not that cold, the draft isn't. It seems like colder days, it actually, just from the heat from the pipe and the exchanging from the outside, it actually pulls a stronger draft. It could be partial to the reason, but you know, I don't think it's really these elbows. Anyways, so that's what's going on with the bike and stuff. So far that's not good. I might need a new cylinder, but I'm gonna do some research and stuff because never heard anything about that. Could have overheated the engine, but you'd think that the piston would go first before it actually does something like that. But yep.